March is Women's Month, and I'm celebrating with my Empowering Women series, where all month long I'm highlighting one of the 5 amazing women from my upcoming documentary film, More Than Our Skin. This week, Alicia Roufs, leader of the Minnesota Chapter of VITFriends. Alicia is the only one of the 5 women in this film who has had vitiligo her entire life. Her story and her triumph. That's coming up next on the PowerPLAY Show.
From the studios at Hull-Bay Productions, this is Season 3 of the PowerPLAY Show. Now, here's Tonya McGrath.
Welcome to the PowerPLAY Show. I'm your host, Tonya McGrath, and all month long, I'll be celebrating some women in power who are near and dear to my heart. As I've been sharing over the past year, I'm working on my second film project, More Than Our Skin, a documentary focusing on the lives of 5 women living with the autoimmune disease vitiligo. This week, my guest is Alicia Roufs, the leader of the Minnesota Chapter of VITFriends, which is a patient advocacy group that encourages, educates, and empowers members of the vitiligo community to know all there is to know about their disease, to advocate for themselves, to be comfortable in their own skin, and to live their best life now. Alicia, one of the 5 women being featured in the film, was diagnosed as an infant and has been living with vitiligo longer than the other 4. But she never let that get her down. Her strength, her power, her infectious personality allows her to thrive to help others on their journey. Alicia, welcome to the PowerPLAY Show.
Thank you so much for having me.
I'm excited to talk to you because you do have a very different story than the other 4. And I think that it's important that, you know, in what this film is going to do is kind of show the spectrum of what it means to live with this disease. But before we jump into that, give our audience a little bit about who you are, where you grew up, your family. Just tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yep, I am a small town Iowa girl is where I grew up, about a town of about 1,100 people. So a lot of people that I meet are like, how could you live there? It's so tiny, but it was a great place to grow up. A lot of great friends. I am a mother. I have a beautiful son named Herbie who just turned 14. 13. Oh, good. And a husband, Dominic, and we have 2 dogs.
That's awesome. What was it like as a child? Because as I mentioned in the intro, you pretty much had vitiligo your entire life. I think you were diagnosed around 3 months when your folks kind of wanted to figure out what was going on with something on your skin. Mm-hmm. How was it being in that small town and growing up with vitiligo? Were there any other people that you knew of in your town?
No, I never met anyone until I was 16 years old, and I worked with him at McDonald's. So I didn't know anybody. I found out after the fact, a girl from school actually had it. She got it in junior high, and I wish I would have known because we could have connected. But yeah, no, not a one person that I met until I was 16. It was tough. It was very lonely in that aspect.
And what kind of community did you have there just help support you? I know your family because I had the wonderful opportunity to interview them when I came out to interview you, and they're just incredible people, and your sister just kicks butt everywhere she goes. But what other kind of support did you have growing up? Because you must have at some point felt different, felt that people may be treating you differently. So talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, you know, besides my family, who was amazing, I did have a core nucleus of neighborhood friends. So my best friend Kyle lived, like we shared a driveway, so he was right next door. So he never brought it up or never judged me about it. And then, you know, we had a sprinkling of a few other kids in our neighborhood that we always hung out with almost every day. So, you know, they never saw me any other way. And never treated me different. And that helped when going to school, when people did treat me not the best. I at least had those core group of friends to fall back on.
Talk about some of the things that were happening in your school where people were just being awful.
mean.
Yeah.
You know, it wasn't everybody. It was just a few, but enough to not make it fun. There was one in particular that seemed to call me spot, I think every day. It felt like every day. Maybe it wasn't, but for me, it felt like it was every day. Just even in passing, instead of saying hi, Alicia, it was hi spot. So, you know, it was the same group of boys, not necessarily the girls actually, which is interesting, but yeah, the names were constant, and you know, the feeling that Alicia has a disease, so don't touch her, that was always really tough too. So yeah, it was tough.
But you didn't let vitiligo stop you from living your best life. You were a cheerleader, you were really, really active despite what was going on. Where did you draw that confidence from?
I think my friends and my mom is a very strong minded person. So I think that helped me a lot. And my dad, of course, and my family was supportive, but I think I definitely got my big mouth from her. She'll hate me for saying that. But I think too, like, I had a great teacher in 6th grade that encouraged me to do like some acting stuff. And so I was in like little skits and stuff in school, and that just kind of like opened a door, like this could be a lot of fun. And again, my friend Kyle, he still acts. He's actually a professional actor. And so he was always just bubbly and fun. And we always put on skits and silly things like that. And it was fun. And so I enjoyed doing that. And I think that the cheerleading thing was a shock that I made the team. And it was such a boost of confidence for me. I had a cousin-in-law who was a cheerleader when I was in kindergarten, and I just thought she was the best thing in the world. So I think that's kind of where my goal was to get to in 7th grade with that. But yeah, I mean, just drawing from your friends and family and experiences, and, you know, the thrill of being in front of people is still there.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And your sister, as I mentioned, Jen, she was a big sister, and I know she protected you, and talk about that relationship a bit, because you guys are really close.
Yeah. So her nickname was Rocky in school, and I did not give her that name. So if that just tells you who I had in my back corner, that obviously was a big help for me. I mean, she chased boys up trees. She chased people with sticks, like, so she was 4 years older than me. So, I mean, she had some more brawn than I did when I was, you know, like, she had the muscle more so than I did, which was great. But, you know, we always did everything together. So it's like, it was just the two of us, and she played with the same group of friends I did growing up. And so she was always there, especially in elementary school, which was the toughest. Once I got to high school, then, you know, she did her own thing and I did my own thing. But yeah, it's something that we've always had together. And I think we talk about how vitiligo affects not just the person, but the entire family. And I think that's the nice thing about, hopefully my story will get across, is that it's going to show the different aspects of the family and how it can affect it.
You know, you were a young girl. You were the only person that you knew of having this. What do you remember about the weight of knowing that you had vitiligo, like what that meant for you as a young girl? Because I think that, you know, again, your story is unique in that you had it pretty much your whole life, and you had to grow up with this versus some of the other women in the film. And so if you could talk to some kids out there, you know, who are having challenging moments, I should say, what can you say about what that meant for you and what people can take away from your story a bit?
I think for me is I always knew I was going to be different. And so that's like a big weight to carry. And I've never seen my skin without my spots. Like, it's always been a part of me. And I think for me, maybe that's given me more strength than somebody maybe who would get it when they're 40, because I've had my lifetime to learn how to accept it and to live with it, because you don't have a choice. It is what it is. And so I think that gave me strength. And I think for kids now that are diagnosed, knowing that they are going to be different, but different is way more fun than normal. So like, and that's how I look at it. Like, who wants to be normal? That's boring.
Well, that's great. We're going to take a quick break. More with Alicia Roufs when we continue. But first, here is one of the trailers for the upcoming film documentary, More Than Our Skin, featuring Alicia, titled The Bully. You're listening to the PowerPLAY Show.
I had great friends, but you always have the bullies. So there was one in particular. It was VK, and he was awful. He was 2 years older than me. I think anytime he passed me in the hallway, he called me Spot, like any chance he got. And he, there was a few. He was the worst. So I'll just focus on him. But, I remember one time we were walking home in the park, and he grabbed my winter coat and threw it in the dumpster, just to be a jackwagon. and it was just, he's like, go get it, Spot. And my sister wasn't there. So I had to go get it. And it was like, what, why? Just because I look different. And Spot was definitely the nickname that everybody gave me. And that was hard to hear. I felt whole. And if someone is meeting somebody for the first time and doesn't have that validation, then they're still going to have that empty feeling. They're still going to have that I don't belong feeling. And how stupid is that? Like, you're coming into a community because they look like you and know what you're feeling. And then if somebody says, well, your spots aren't as bad, that's so insulting and so horrible. I had that happen to me at a conference in Detroit because they said, oh, I don't even see your vitiligo. And it's like, I'm at a vitiligo conference. What? Like, it is. It's, you want to feel included because we haven't been included. They feel what it is like to have vitiligo, that it is more than our skin, and that there's highs and lows with it. There's also good things. I've met incredible people because of my vitiligo that I never would have met in my life, ever. I never would have went to Detroit. I never would have went to DC like that. I never would have met these people and connected. It's crazy because I have a second family that I'll always have, and it's precious.
Now, back to the PowerPLAY Show.
We're back with Alicia Roufs. We just saw a trailer where you talked about being bullied because of vitiligo. How did bullying affect you?
It was tough. And I felt like I didn't have anybody. I could talk to people about it, but I never had anybody that got it. So I never had that person to lean on and to deal with these emotions that were going through me that would understand exactly what I was feeling. So it was really tough. And when you're a kid, you just want to fit in. You just want to be part of everybody else. And, to be singled out is very tough as a kid.
Do you hear from other parents or families about children being bullied because they have vitiligo?
Yes, it definitely still happens, and it still is very prevalent. I think what's different now is the fact that there is a huge support community, more so it's, for me, it's so much easier to give advice and help for people that come to me than it would have been 10 years ago. Just there's so many books out there, there's so much to show them, like, look at these people thriving. But people still come to me. I had a mom that was at a water park and people were staring and snickering and all of that. And she said, I wish I could say something to them, but I don't want to, because you don't always want to be the teacher. You just want to live your life. And so I had made up some business cards, and on the back side, it just gave a little snippet of what vitiligo was, and that they could go to this website for more information. And so I sent it to her, and I said, hand these out next time you have that happen and you don't want to talk.
That's incredible, because, I think that what people don't realize is that, there are a lot of things that people can hide, that people can not show in terms of what they're dealing with. But with vitiligo, it's just always there. It's always there. You don't get a break from it. You know what I mean? So I think that's great that you can just kind of give that little bit of advice and that help for families. You became the Minnesota leader for VITFriends. How did this come about?
It was something with Facebook came out, there were so many groups, there was a few groups for vitiligo, and there was this one company that was trying to do support groups and whatever, and that fizzled out, of course. And then I just decided there needed to be something here in Minnesota. I'd met a couple people in my town that had it, and I thought, we need to do something. And so I just started like a small group on Facebook and started gaining members that way, and just started reaching out to different people. We had one meeting so far, and it was at the University of Minnesota with a doctor, and it was so awkward, and I didn't know what I was doing, and it was just like stumbling through trying to figure out what we should be doing, because I didn't want it to be like a woe is me, here we go type of thing. I wanted it it was a good meeting. I met some great people and some people that are still active in the group, which is awesome. But we've learned and grown from there too. But we joined up with VITFriends after the 2016 conference, and Valerie Malinolu had me speak, and it changed my life forever. And she asked if I would join up with VITFriends and then also help with the marketing. So that's what I do.
And when she had you speak at the conference, was that in Washington, D.C.? When was that?
Yep, yeah, that was in D.C. on the steps of the Capitol, which was pretty cool.
Yes, and we won't give too much away. You're going to have to watch the film to kind of hear what she had to say. What kind of activities and meetings, like what do you do with the VITFriends group in Minnesota?
We try to meet 3 to 4 times a year. I'm a laid back person, so I'm not like a we have to do this and this and this. It's more of just getting together, having food, and talking. I mean, that's the majority of what our meetings are. We try to do a picnic every summer. We've been able to do I think we've had 4 of them now. I have done a couple health show booths. So trying to help spread awareness for people, and was able to do a couple presentations with that. We've done presentations with some Mayo Clinic med students, which has been great. Anytime we get a chance to talk, we try to do it. We've been able to go into some schools and bring books and read books to them. So just, small, but we're getting there.
I was in Minnesota last year with you filming in May, and you had a great group of folks come out, and I kept hearing the same stories about people's ignorance. Mm-hmm. What do you do to help the others in the support group deal with ignorant people? And these are people who are pointing or staring or gawking and I think you said one time someone came up to you and said, "Were you burned?" And you're like, "Does this look like a burn?" So talk about what kind of things you do to help them deal with other comments or stares, that type of thing.
Yeah. And it's funny, and we talk about this too, is like, if someone was in a wheelchair, would you go up to them and say, "Well, how'd you do that?" Like, it's funny the stuff that people say. And I think we always try to put it back in a perspective of, is it a teachable moment for people? And, sometimes it's okay to be the teacher and just say, "It's a vitiligo, Google it," just trying to give them simple answers that they can come back to a person with. Or if they don't feel comfortable, again, we have those little cards that they can hand them. But I think just talking through it with people too, and just knowing that, yep, I get those comments too, or yep, I had this person say this. And I think it just makes people feel better and empowered to handle situations that come up to them.
Your husband, Dom, and your son, Herbie, who are just awesome. They are such huge supporters of you. When I was there and just watching them kind of just jump in and helping you out and just being a part of the community. And I think Herbie has gone to a couple of conferences.
Mm-hmm.
What does that mean for you to just have, in your home, just having that great support from the two of them?
It's huge, and they've always been so helpful. And Dom's like, I'm never gonna miss a conference again. And Herbie too. Like, he loves going to these things, and they've made lifelong friends now with everybody. So they get definitely something out of it too. But yeah, it's packing up the supplies. It's letting me have the 8 million Zoom calls, or working at stuff at night. They've always been supportive, and it's huge. It's huge. And for Herbie, it's just like, he's my little advocate, and so he'll see people like out shopping, and I won't even notice it. He'll be like, "Hey, that guy's got vitiligo. Where?" So he's my little spotter of the spotted, basically. But it's great because he's able to help educate people too when somebody says something.
You have an incredible son there. We're going to take another quick break, more with Alicia when we continue. But first, the official film trailer to the upcoming film documentary, More Than Our Skin. You're listening to the PowerPLAY Show.
Did he have vitiligo, and is that why he lightened his skin?
The king of pop had vitiligo.
I'm a Black American. I'm proud to be a Black American.
And he allegedly bleached his skin.
I have a skin disorder. There is no such thing as skin bleaching.
Let's get to the fact versus the fiction here.
He has a serious skin condition, which I have witnessed.
When people make up stories that I don't want to be who I am, it hurts me.
My world ended that day.
Because what was your biggest fear?
I'm just too fabulous for that. All of this chocolate, milk chocolate, you're saying may go away?
That's all I did was watch TV, go to the refrigerator, watch TV, go to the refrigerator. That's it. That's all I did. I wasn't doing nothing. I was staying in the house.
Next to photos, it's like, and then be the spotted one. So it was hard, absolutely.
This was gonna be it. That there was not going to be anything else out there to help me because I had already tried everything.
Why me? Especially in mornings when you had to do life again each day. I was like, why me?
Vitiligo is an autoimmune disease.
The immune system, which we know fights viruses, and vitiligo, it's the skin color cells.
Leading to white patches, often in exposed areas such as the face or hands. When patients come in, sometimes they just want to know what's going on.
Is this something that I can catch?
And once we know what causes vitiligo and what drives vitiligo, we can design treatments and be able to treat patients.
The creators of 100 Years, 100 Voices of Faith bring you More Than Our Skin, the compelling stories of 5 women living with vitiligo. It's the story of more than the skin you see. It's the pain, depression, suicide thoughts that come knowing that with their pigmentation, a bit of humanity also faded away.
I was upset. They used to stare and look and point.
How is the disease affecting them?
I didn't want to be around people.
Not leaving their homes because it so deeply affects them.
The view of all the people and them.
There's no way you can hear those stories and not get personally involved.
Oh, were you burned in a fire? And I looked at him and I said, does this look like a burn?
And through their anger and pain, they're able to stand strong with the support of their communities to tell the world what they want you to know about what it means to live with vitiligo.
The journey will be hard.
They should not, make fun of people.
It's not just spots on your skin. This is affecting this.
We got to speak for those that don't want to speak, for the voiceless.
My biggest hope is that it encourage, lift up, pick up someone that's down in the dumps Our aim is to continue on this upward motion, making it happen.
More than our skin.
Now, back to the PowerPLAY Show.
This June, almost 2 years from your last conference, you are helping to host this year's World Vitiligo Day. This must be really exciting for you.
We are pumped, and it's been 3 years in the making. We were announced to host in June of 19. I had started planning in the end of 18, actually. And yeah, because of COVID, we had gotten delayed twice now, so we're ready.
And talk about what happens at these conferences, because you guys have had several over the past decade. Talk about what happens and why these conferences are so important.
Absolutely. So the first one was in 16, and it changed my life forever. And that's what I tell people: if they've never been to a conference, go, because it really will change your life. And it's not just, all the stuff that happens. It's literally walking into a room and seeing people that look just like you and have gone through your journey. I mean, we all have different journeys, but we all have the same journey too. So having that fellowship and community it's life-changing. I mean, I can't say a different word for it, because it just changes your life. It's amazing. It's an amazing feeling. And so it's just important for people like me who never knew anybody else. And there's so many of us in the community that have never met one other person. And so, yes, the small meetings are great, but to have, a room of 300 people, all for vitiligo and all in the same cause, it changes your life. I can't say it again.
So talk about what happens at these conferences. What kind of activities or sessions do you have at the conferences?
Yeah, so for Minnesota, we have planned, we always have the doctors. We are sponsored through the Global Vitiligo Foundation. And so they bring the world-renowned doctors that their life mission is vitiligo. So, and they have paved the way for so many of us too, because they have connected a lot of us and have, the research has changed so much. We're close to an FDA approval for a drug. And that's because of these doctors there's no money in vitiligo. And I think people don't understand that.
That's true.
There isn't. And so even for these doctors, they're not, a lot of people think, oh, these doctors are all rich. But no,
right.
There's no funding for, it's much better than it was 5 years ago, but still. So that's when I say they dedicate their life, they really, truly, truly do. So we have the doctors, they're there for answering questions, they're talking about latest treatments, all that great stuff. We're also going to have things talking about how to live with vitiligo. So we'll have a session on makeup, UV clothing, sunscreen, nutrition is a big thing, autoimmune disease and nutrition. There's definitely some things to learn about that. So that's something we're doing this year that has never been done in years past. We encourage families and kids to come, because we're going to have sessions for parents, children. The Mall of America is right next door, so there's a giant indoor theme park that the kids will get to go to. So lots of fun things involved with the conference. And so yeah, it's getting together, dancing, we got a DJ, we got comedians. So it's fun, it's informative, and hopefully empowering for people.
And like you said, it's not like, let's all get together and be sad about what God has given us to live with, right? But this really is a celebration. It's a celebration of being a part of a community that is different. It's different, but you guys are all kind of dealing with the same challenges, albeit it looks different on every single person, but you're dealing with the same types of issues in your own personal space, but then you get to come together and celebrate. What has it been like having to manage this upcoming conference? Because I can imagine that
there's a lot of wine involved. I don't promote drinking, but sometimes you need a glass. It's been now we're coming down to crunch time too. And it's just like, okay, this is happening. And thank goodness I have an amazing assistant here in Minnesota, Tiffany Onishuk. Oh, thank God for her. And she wasn't around until last year. She had no idea about this community. And so we're both happy we didn't have it in 2020, because now I have her as a partner and a helper, and her background is event planning. So thank God for her. So yeah, but it's a long time coming, and I'm just ready to do it. I'm ready for June.
It's going to be exciting, and I'm going to be there, and we're going to have a panel where we're going to be talking about the film and showing some clips from the film. So that's going to be really exciting as well. This year we're going to be completing the film that you were featured in. And I want you to first talk about what has been your experience so far, because we've now been working actually on today, when this is airing. Thursday is the 1-year anniversary from when we first kind of started this whole project together. So what's this last year been like for you?
It's crazy. Like, the initial filming was very overwhelming because it was talking about stuff I had never spoken of or that I don't talk about a lot. So that really stirred up some emotions that I maybe had pressed down a little bit. But it was really therapeutic too, which was amazing. And then having that time with my family too, that we're all talking about this, and that's what this conference is about too. It's a family affair. And so really showing that nucleus of family and how we all deal with vitiligo just really was inspiring and emotional and wonderful. But then obviously having, we do weekly meetings with yourself and the 4 other women, and that has been like a saving grace all year long, because I think all of us have some emotional ups and downs this year, and to always have that Friday meeting to come back to and know that I'm going to feel better when I get off of the meeting is awesome. And I love that. So I'm going to release, it's going to suck when we're done. We'll still do stuff.
We're going to still do the Friday meetings. I made that kind of a promise, and sorry audience, but you're not invited. This is just for us. Upon the completion of the film, when people are watching this film, what are you hoping that they walk away knowing and understanding about what it means to live with vitiligo?
What does it mean to live for them? I think, well, that it's more than our skin. That it affects us deeply, that, it's not cosmetic. It is truly something inside our bodies that's hurting us. So, and there's different levels. Like myself, you're not seeing it right now because I'm in Pasty, Minnesota right now. And there's different journeys for different people. So yeah, I hope they walk away just feeling empowered and understanding.
And I should mention that you did come up with the title for this film. So yes, you are incredible in that way. And I think it does encapsulate everything that we're trying to do, because as you mentioned, yes, it's the physical, but it's so much more than that. It's so much more than what's on the outside. And that's what we want people to really kind of understand about this. Alicia, thank you so much for being here today to tell just a bit of your story, because you're going to have to watch the film to get so much more. But tell our audience how they can either support or attend the Vitiligo conference this year.
Absolutely. So if you go to the website 2022.wvdusa.org, that's how you'll register, book your hotel. All the information is on there. And of course, they'll take donations too. And we'll always take donations at VITFriends.org, obviously, too. But yeah, and it's a way to help send members to conferences too that have never attended. That's a big part of what we take donations for, is to send people to these conferences.
Awesome. And we'll have that information on our website. And if you want to learn more about the film and outreach project, the amazing women featured in the documentary, the creative team behind the making of this film, or to leave a donation, you can visit the More Than Our Skin website at morethanourskin.org. Alicia, thank you so much for your time today.
Thank you.
Remember, you can listen to past episodes of the PowerPLAY Show wherever you subscribe to podcasts, including iTunes, iHeartRadio, Pandora Podcasts, and now Amazon Music. You can also watch us on our YouTube channel. Simply search the Hull Bay Productions Media channel and be sure to subscribe so you always know when we're live. And we air each Saturday at 5 p.m. on BroncoiRadio.com. So tune into a new episode of the PowerPLAY Show each Thursday, wherever you subscribe to podcasts or on our YouTube channel, or simply visit our website at thepowerplayshow.com. Until next time, I'm your host, Tonya McGrath, and thank you for tuning in.